Part 225 Agile Testing Interview Questions. Please subscribe for second part of this video and hit like if you have learned anything new today. Let's begin. Question 1. Explain Agile Testing. What are the principles of Agile Testing? Agile testing, as the name suggests, is a software testing process where software is tested for any defects, errors, or other issues. It is considered a core part of the development process as it enables testers and developers to work together as a team that in turn improves overall performance. It also helps in ensuring the successful delivery of high-quality products. Testing is usually performed so that testers can identify and resolve the problems early and at every point in the development process. Principles of Agile Testing. There are 8 main principles of Agile testing as given below. Continuous testing. Testing should be conducted continuously by the Agile team to ensure continuous development progress. Continuous feedback. This process generally encourages taking feedback from clients to make sure that the product meets the requirements of the client or customer. Teamwork or collective work. Not only testers but developers, business analysts can also perform software testing or application testing. Clean code. Quality of software is maintained as the team tests the software to ensure that the code is clean, simple, and tight. All errors and defects that are found during the testing phase are fixed quickly within the same iteration by the Agile team. Less documentation. This process usually involves the usage of reusable checklists instead of lengthy documentation. Test-driven. In other conventional methods, testing is only performed after the implementation, but in Agile testing, testing is done during the implementation so that errors or any issues can be removed on time. Customer satisfaction. During the Agile testing process, development progress is being shown to clients or customers so that they can adapt and update their requirements. This is done to ensure customer satisfaction. Let's move on to next question. Question 2. As a tester, what should be your approach when requirements change continuously? When requirement keeps changing continuously, Agile tester should take following approach. Write generic test plans and test cases, which focuses on the intent of the requirement rather than its exact details. To understand the scope of change, work closely with the product owners or business analyst. Make sure team understand the risks involved in changing requirements, especially at the end of the sprint. Until the feature is stable and the requirements are finalized, it is best to wait if you are going to automate the feature. Changes can be kept to a minimum by negotiating or implement the changes in the next sprint. Let's move on to next question. Question 3. What good qualities an Agile tester should have? There are several good qualities an Agile tester should have. Some of them are listed below. Positive attitude and solution-oriented. Focused towards goal. Excellent communication skills. Understand and fulfill customer requirements. Basic knowledge about the Agile process and its principles. Critical and creative thinking. Share ideas effectively. Plan and prioritize work based on requirements. Cope up with change. Question 4. What do you mean by refactoring? Refactoring is basically an activity that involves alteration or modification of the internal structure of software without any change in its external behaviors or functionality. In this, developers make some changes or tinker with code to enhance and improve the internal structure of software. One of the most popular and widely used refactoring techniques in the Agile software development process is red-green. The refactoring process makes the code more readable, understandable, and clean. The continuous habit of refactoring helps to make it easier to extend and maintain code. Let's move on to next question. Question 5. Tell us about the pros and cons of exploratory testing used in Agile and scripted testing. Exploratory testing. Pros: it requires less preparation, easy to modify when requirement changes, works well when documentation is scarce. Exploratory testing. Cons: presenting progress and coverage to project management is difficult. Scripted testing. Pros: in case testing against legal or regulatory requirements, it is very useful. Scripted testing. Cons: test preparation is usually time-consuming. Same steps are tested over and again. When requirement changes, it is difficult to modify. Let's move on to next question. Question 6. Explain what is application binary interface. Across different system platforms and environments, a specification defining requirements for portability of applications in binary form is known as application binary interface. Let's move on to next question. Question 7. What's the difference between sprint backlog and product backlog? Sprint backlog. It is generally owned by the development team. It only contains those features and requirements that are related to the specific sprint only. It is considered a subset of the product backlog. It is compiled of everything that must be done to complete a particular sprint. It only includes items that can be completed during each agile sprint. It is specific to the sprint goal only in a particular sprint. Product backlog. It is generally owned and maintained by the project owner. It usually contains each feature of the product as well as the requirements of the product. It is compiled to everything that must be done to complete the whole process. It just breaks down every item into a series of steps. It is more specific to the end goal of the product. Let's move on to next question. Question 8. Explain what is Scrumban. Scrumban is a software development model based on Scrum and Kanban. It is specially designed for projects that requires frequent maintenance, having unexpected user stories and programming errors. Using these approach, the team's workflow is guided in a way that allows minimum completion time for each user story or programming error. Let's move on to next question. Question 9. What is Spike and Zero Sprint in Agile? Spike, it generally refers to a too large and complex user story in software development that cannot be estimated until the development team runs a time-boxed investigation. These stories can be used for various activities like research, design, exploration, prototyping, etc. Spikes are usually created to resolve some technical issues and design problems in the project. Zero Sprint, it generally refers to the first step or pre-preparation step that comes just before the first sprint. It includes all activities such as setting a development environment, preparing backlog, etc. Let's move on to next question. Question 10. What is a product roadmap? A product roadmap, as the name suggests, is a powerful tool that describes how a product is likely to grow over time. It is a holistic view of product features that create the product vision. It also indicates what development is building, business goals that the new product will achieve, problems that the product will solve, etc. A product roadmap is owned by the product manager. It also encourages the development team to work together to achieve the desired goal for the successful delivery of the product. Hey friends, before we move to next question, do not forget to hit like button and hit bell icon for second part of this video. Thanks. Let's move on to next question. Question 11. What is a test stub? A test stub is a small code that replaces an undeveloped or fully developed component within a system being tested. Test stub is designed in such a way that it mimics the actual component by generating specifically known outputs and substitute the actual component. Let's move on to next question. Question 12. What do you mean by pair programming? What are its advantages? Pair programming, as the name suggests, is a type of programming where two people write code together and work side by side on one machine or computer. It is basically a technique mostly used in agile software development. In this type of programming, one person writes code and another person checks and reviews each line of code. Both of them also switch their roles while doing work. Advantages of pair programming. Develop higher quality code. Reduce the risk of errors. An effective way to share knowledge. Enhanced productivity. Improved team collaboration. Let's move on to next question. Question 13. Please mention, what are the agile quality strategies? Agile quality strategies are refactoring, non-solo development, static and dynamic code analysis, reviews and inspection, iteration sprint demos, all hands demo, lightweight milestone reviews, short feedback cycles, standards and guidelines. Let's move on to next question. Question 14. Mention, what are the tools that can be useful for screenshots while working on agile projects? While working on agile projects, you can use tools like Bugdigger, Bugshooting, Qtrace, Snagit, Bonfire, UserSnap. Let's move on to next question. Question 15. Mention, what are the advantages of maintaining consistent iteration length throughout the project? The advantages are: it helps team to objectively measure progress. It provides a consistent means of measuring team velocity. It helps to establish a consistent pattern of delivery. Let's move on to next question. Question 16. Explain how you can measure the velocity of the sprint with varying team capacity. When planning a sprint, usually, the velocity of the sprint is measured on the basis of professional judgment based on historical data. However, the mathematical formula used to measure the velocity of the sprint are: first, completed story points x team capacity, if you measure capacity as a percentage of a 40 hours weeks. Second, completed story points team capacity, if you measure capacity in man-hours. For our scenario, second method is applicable. Let's move on to next question. Question 17. In Agile, mention, what is the difference between the incremental and iterative development? Iterative method is a continuous process of software development where the software development cycles are repeated, sprint and releases, till the final product is achieved. Release 1, sprint 1, 2, n. Release n, sprint 1, 2, n. Incremental development segregates the system functionality into increments or portions. In each increment, each segment of functionality is delivered through cross-discipline work, from the requirements to the deployment. Let's move on to next question. Question 18. What is test-driven development, TDD? Test-driven development is a testing methodology or a programming practice implemented from a developer's perspective. In this technique, a QA engineer starts designing and writing test cases for every small functionality of an application. This technique attempts to answer a simple question: is the code valid? The main intention of this technique is to modify or write a fresh code only when the test fails. Hence, it results in lesser duplication of test scripts. This technique is largely popular in agile development ecosystems. In a TDD approach, automated test scripts are written before functional pieces of code. The TDD methodology involves the following steps. 1. Based on the requirements specified in the documents, a developer writes an automated test case. 2. These tests are executed, and in some cases, they fail as they are developed before the development of an actual feature. 3. The development team then refactors the code for the test to pass successfully. Let's move on to next question. 19. What are the benefits of test-driven development? 1. Helps reduce the amount of time required for rework. 2. Helps explore bugs or errors very quickly. 3. Help get faster feedback. 4. Encourages the development of cleaner and better designs. 5. Enhances the productivity of the programmer. 6. Allows any team member to start working on the code in the absence of a specific team member. This encourages knowledge sharing and collaboration. 7. Gives the programmer confidence to change the large architecture of an application easily. 8. Results in the creation of extensive code that is flexible and easy to maintain. Let's move on to next question. Question 20. What is behavioral-driven development, BDD? Behavioral-driven development, BDD, is a testing approach derived from the test-driven development, TDD, methodology. In BDD, tests are mainly based on systems behavior. This approach defines various ways to develop a feature based on its behavior. In most cases, the given Venn approach is used for writing test cases. Let's take an example for better understanding. Given the user has entered valid login credentials. When a user clicks on the login button, then display the successful validation message. The behavior is illustrated in a very simple English language, also known as a shared language. This helps everyone in the team responsible for development to understand the feature behavior. Let's move on to next question. Question 21. What are key benefits of behavioral-driven development approach? 1. Helps reach a wider audience by the usage of non-technical language. 2. Focuses on how the system should behave from the customer's and the developer's perspective. 3. BDD is a cost-effective technique. 4. Reduces efforts needed to verify any post-deployment defects. Let's move on to next question. Question 22. How does BDD help in SDLC? Debugging the errors in the latter stages of the development life cycle often proves to be very expensive. In the majority of cases, ambiguity in understanding the requirements is the root cause behind this. One needs to ensure that all the development efforts remain aligned towards fulfilling predetermined requirements. BDD allows developers to do the above by 1. Allowing the requirements to be defined in a standard approach using simple English. 2. Providing several ways to illustrate real-world scenarios for understanding requirements. 3. Providing a platform that enables the tech and non-tech teams to collaborate and understand the requirements. Let's move on to next question. Question 23. What is acceptance test-driven development? In acceptance test-driven development, ATDD, technique, a single acceptance test is written from the user's perspective. It mainly focuses on satisfying the functional behavior of the system. This technique attempts to answer the question, is the code working as expected? Let's move on to next question. This technique enhances collaboration among developers, users, and QAs with a common focus on defining the acceptance criteria. The following are some of the key practices in ATDD. 1. Analyzing and discussing the real-world scenarios. 2. Deciding the acceptance criteria for those test scenarios. 3. Automating the acceptance test cases. 4. Focusing on the development of those requirement cases. Let's move on to next question. Question 24. What are the benefits of ATDD? 1. Requirements are very clearly analyzed without any ambiguity. 2. Encourages collaboration among cross-team members. 3. The acceptance test serves as a guide for the entire development process. Let's move on to next question. Question 25. Why continuous integration is important for Agile? Continuous integration is important for Agile for following reasons. 1. It helps to maintain release schedule on time by detecting bugs or integration errors. 2. Due to frequent Agile code delivery, usually every sprint of 2 to 3 weeks, stable quality of build is a must, and continuous integration ensures that. 3. It helps to maintain the quality and bug-free state of codebase. 4. Continuous integration helps to check the impact of work on branches to the main trunk if development work is going on branches using automatic building and merging function. Thanks everyone. See you in next video. Please subscribe and hit bell notification for second part of this video.